And now it's time to welcome our next guest and good friend, David Stearns, president and founder of Stearns Retirement Group in Watkinsonville, Georgia. Thanks for joining us today, David.
Thanks, Dave. Glad to be here.
Now, you have your own thoughts about the Secure Act, that potential concerns that you have about it. Let's talk about that for just a couple minutes.
Well, I think the name, the Secure Act, it's a fairly audacious title, and I'm trying to think how it's going to make communities secure for retirement. You know, there's a retirement crisis, we all agree. There's the current retirement crisis, there's the future retirement crisis. How can we get younger people to start saving? That's another whole issue. But the concerns that I have for current retirees, which is where most of my clients are, is that many of these changes are good for the tax revenue, I believe, of the United States and not necessarily so good for retirement long term.
So let's talk short term versus long term.
Okay.
Short term, I would say that doesn't make any sense. It's definitely not true, simply because, gosh, if you can do IRA contributions longer, you don't have to take the withdrawals, the RMDs from the IRA until longer. Short term, it's going to hurt the government. However, I, like you, like to always think about, okay, what's the other agenda that the government has here for which they're trying to propose this, right? So that's what's
Right.
going on in your mind. And I think the long term is where the government gets the windfall, because they're encouraging people who make $15,000 of income as a couple to take a $14,000 tax deduction.
Exactly.
And virtually save zero taxes, but defer it down the road where their heirs are going to inherit it and might pay 30-40% because they're still working. So is that what you're thinking? That's really the long-term whammy that you're concerned about, that individuals might have to incur?
Well, it is. You know, from 1936 to 1981, the tax brackets for the highest income earners in our country never dropped below 70. So we know taxes were a lot higher in the past. There's not too many people that I can think of on the planet that don't think taxes are not going to go up in the future. So I operate under the assumption that they're on sale today. So if I've got a client who's 73 years old working at Walmart, just because the government says now with the Secure Act they can put money away and take a tax deduction, well, when they pull it out when they're 87, because we are concerned about life expectancy and longevity, what if their tax bracket is a lot higher?
What if they pay more taxes than they saved initially? Good point. Hold on, David. We need to take a quick commercial break, but stay with us. We'll be back in just a minute. And you stay with us too. We'll be back after the break here on The Income Generation. Welcome back. We're here today talking with our good friend, David Stearns, personal great friend of mine, who's president and founder of Stearns Retirement Group. David, thanks for sticking around through the commercial break. So, okay, it's interesting because if you have somebody over 70 years old who can do a tax-deductible IRA or do a Roth IRA, and they're earning a little bit more than $15,000 of income, what are you going to tell them to do? The regular IRA, take deduction, or the Roth IRA?
Well, I'm thinking the Roth IRA. You know, the Roth IRA was not really talked about in the Secure Act. Not a Roth 401k, not a Roth IRA. I didn't see a lot of mention of that. And I would encourage that client to do a Roth IRA. The issue is save money, but don't take the tax deduction now. Take it later when tax rates will be higher. So if we go ahead and go with the Roth IRA, let that money not get a tax break going in, but grow on a tax deferred basis, and then be able to pull it all out when there's a chance that tax rates will be higher. Then your heirs also will appreciate that more long term as well.
And they can, of course, do the Roth IRAs right now. So maybe what the government's trying to do is entice them with a tax deduction today. I mean, we are a society, unfortunately, of what have you done for me lately? So some people might, hey, I'll save 10 cents today, not even realizing they might be paying 30 cents in the future. So I appreciate your insight in that as usual. Social Security, we've got about a minute and a half left. Social Security, what do you see being, in your practice, being some of the major problems with how your clients, before they meet you, left to their own vices, want to take their Social Security benefits?
Well, I think there's a lot of fear about the solvency or longevity of Social Security. There's no doubt it's in trouble, but if you look at the trust fund and you look at the numbers, they don't need to operate under extreme fear. I think there's a lot of barbershop, beauty shop advice that they have, just gut feel, extreme views. We use something called the Social Security maximization software. There's a lot of confusion surrounding the Bipartisan Budget Act of 2015 and which strategies did and didn't go away. So we like to really just tell people, there's art and then there's math with Social Security. There's your gut and then there's the calculator. And we like to keep an eye on both and help them think through that really carefully.
David, thanks so much for being here on the show today. Unfortunately, we need to leave it there for time. Love to have you back. And you stay with us too, and you come back also for our next segment right here on the Income Generation in just a moment.